GateKeeper is a record-breaking wing coaster at Cedar Point. Not only is this ride large in scale, but it's very picturesque, as it has two inversions directly above the park's main entrance. It is a spectacle to see, and this ride is quite good as well. I will explain why in this review. Cedar Point loves to go big. That is why so many of their coasters break records. Some of their coasters have been the outright record holders for the tallest and fastest roller coasters in the world. Others have more specialized records, being the tallest and fastest of their particular genre. GateKeeper falls into the latter category. This opened in 2013 with a bevy of records. It opened as the world's tallest, fastest, and longest Bolliger Mabillard wing coaster. While two installations in China have since taken these records from GateKeeper, this ride still holds all these records in North America. Then that wing over drop was once the world's tallest inversion, but it too has lost that record to a few different rides worldwide. GateKeeper still has the most inversions of any wing coaster though, with 6. The ride is located towards the front of the park, occupying the plot of land formerly home to Space Spiral and Disaster Transport. This is a brilliant location. It is right next to the beach, so you get some stunning views both on and off ride. Then this coaster is visually breathtaking. It has a large entrance sign like so many rides at this park. The track features a beautiful blue paint scheme that really pops in a clear day. Then the golden bird themed trains contrast against that beautifully. But this coaster's signature features are those two inversions directly over the main entrance. These are two of the best near misses out there. This kinetic interaction really gets you amped up for your day, and I love how the park always seems to time a dispatch so it cycles through this element exactly when the park opens for the day. Just don't expect much in terms of theming though. The queue is particularly dull, as is a long series of switchbacks beneath the station. You then split towards the end as with most wing coasters because you board on opposite sides of the track. The queue at least moves quickly though because this ride has a high throughput. There are 3 trains, and the park regularly runs all 3 of them with quick dispatches. Then each train seats a max of 32 riders, as there are 8 rows. Each row is a pair of seats on each side of the track. If you time it right, you can usually experience this coaster with a minimal wait. One approach is to head here during early entry. This coaster has routinely been part of this perk ever since opening, although that could change in the future. This perk lets you into the park an hour early every single day. It is available to those with prestige passes or those staying on site. It is also available to those with gold passes in 2024, but not in future seasons. Most people bypass GateKeeper for the other rides available for early entry, so if you want to ride GateKeeper, you can often experience it with no wait. Even if there is a queue, it'll move faster than usual without fast lane being active. In a similar vein, you can also head here towards the end of the night. With no more fast lane users being admitted, standby will also move faster than usual, but I would instead suggest hopping in line for one of their busier coasters near closing time. Because of GateKeeper's position towards the front of the park, it sees its largest demand early in the day. If you return here in the mid to late afternoon, you can often catch this ride with a minimal wait. I think that is the most efficient time to experience this coaster. If you have fast lane, you are routed directly to the station split. This means you usually board in 10 to 15 minutes max. The one thing to watch out for with this ride is wind. Due to the wide trains, this ride is particularly sensitive to wind gusts. It is one of the first rides at this park to close in blustery conditions. I believe ground winds in excess of 20 miles per hour will usually be enough to shut this coaster down. Which seat inside should you select? I have a slight preference for the left side, since you will be positioned next to the water in the lift hill. You almost always select your side freely. As for which row I prefer, I split my rides pretty evenly between the front and back. I think the back has slightly better forces, but I love feeling the speed and the unobstructed view up front. There is usually a grouper assigning rows at the load platform, but most will try to honor row requests if you ask nicely. Like all B&M wing coasters, this ride utilizes vest restraints. There's a thick bar by your pelvis. Then there's a soft, stretchable piece securing your upper body. These originally would tighten throughout the ride, placing a lot of stress on your collarbone. Fortunately, this soft part was modified in future seasons to have some give. Now they're snug, but comfortable, and they prevent any headbanging. Not that this coaster would have any. This coaster is quite smooth. You may get some bouncing in the outside seats due to the cantilevered train design, particularly if you're in the rear rows, but it is perfectly tolerable in my opinion. This slight bouncing is common with the model in general. If you are sensitive to this, pick the inside seat for a smoother ride. Once dispatched, you turn right and ascend the 170-foot or 52-meter tall lift hill. If you're on the left side of the train, you get a beautiful view of the lake. If you're on the right side, the train blocks your view of the water, but you at least get a cool view of the rides in the front half of the park. Once at the top, you have a wing over drop like so many wing coasters. This essentially is a funky looking dive loop. The front enters the element ultra slowly, so you get some insane hang time there. You still get some hang time in the back rows, but you travel through it much quicker, getting solid whip as the front part of the train has started to drop. The descent then offers great positive Gs for everyone. Immediately afterwards, you have an Immelman. The climb into it continues the high positive Gs from before, so I usually gray out here. The flip out of it is rather mild in the front, but you get decent whip and back as you are pulled downwards. Next is a large camelback. This looks like something that belongs in a hypercoaster. You get sustained air time in all rows. It is weak floater in the front, and solid floater in the rear rows. This is followed by a large corkscrew. This is taken at a slower rate, so it lacks the whip of the corkscrews and B&M inverts or floorless coasters, but it does offer some laterals due to the wide angle of rotation. This leads to the 0G roll over the entrance. The element itself is super floaty while offering some decent laterals, but is most notable for those aforementioned near misses. You pierce through not one, but 2 keyholes above the park entrance. The clearances are ultra tight, so it really feels like you'll crash into the pillars. It is one of the best near misses out there. You are now at the far end of the layout, and you turn around via a dive loop. This has nice whip in the back. Then everyone gets okay positive Gs in the pullout. You then have your second inversion over the entrance, an inline twist. This elongated element offers excellent hang time. Then you have another terrifying near miss as you rotate next to the prior 2 keyhole structures. It is things like this that make wing coasters special. You then climb upwards into a mid-course brake run, getting a smidge of airtime in front. Everything up to this point has been really good. The elements are graceful, but engaging and enjoyable. It does everything a wing coaster should. But GateKeeper's finale is really weak. You have a gentle drop downwards, then you navigate a helix. You are not traveling very fast by this point, so it only offers light positive Gs. This is followed by a tame bunny hill and a twist into the brakes. Neither offer any force. It feels like this finale was added solely to create an extra block zone for 3 train operations. I think a super slow inline twist like the one in Thunderbird would have been a much better finale. That has an element that actually becomes more effective with less speed. So what would I rate GateKeeper? I would give this coaster an 8 out of 10. This is a great wing coaster. I love this ride's first half. You have stunning visuals, both with the beach and near misses. Then you have a mix of high positive Gs and sweet hang time. I just wish the finale were stronger. Still, this is easily one of the better wing coasters due to its size, sights, and forces. And I think it's well worth riding a few times whenever you're at Cedar Point if you can catch it with a shorter wait. Those are my thoughts on GateKeeper at Cedar Point. What are your thoughts on this ride? How do you think it compares to the other wing coasters out there? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.